Gary Hess, News Radio, WRVA, the voice of Virginia.
Learn it here first or risk finding out after everyone else.
This is Richmond's Morning News with Rich Herrera on News Radio WRVA.
All right, it's 7:34 this morning here on Richmond's Morning News. It's News Radio WRVA as we get ready to celebrate the 4th of July. Let's run out to the WRVA Newsmaker Hotline and talk about really the meaning of the 4th of July with our Congressman John McGuire joining us here on the Voice of Virginia News Radio WRVA. So, sir, I'm not sure if I'm going to be the first, but I want to be one to tell you right now, happy 4th of July, my friend.
Yeah, happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America, the greatest country in history. 250 years of American exceptionalism. We need to focus on doing things to make it another even better 250 years.
Why? So we make that statement all the time. In your opinion, and you're one who's worn the cloth of our nation, is a Navy SEAL. You're one who is beaten, battered, and bruised, injured, countless injuries to get back up on your feet, and you still continue to serve, this time in the halls of Congress. That's a lot of personal sacrifice, you and your family. When you say this is you say this is the greatest nation on earth, there's a reason why you believe that. Why do you think this is the greatest nation on earth?
Well, I know what I've lived in. This is a country where a man or a woman can work hard and achieve just about anything. And we got to make sure we keep fighting for that. As Reagan said, our way of life is one generation away. I mean, we got to teach the new generation about our freedom. But what's so great about our country is in the 13 colonies, the 13 states that became the United States, you couldn't hold elected office at any level unless you were a Christian. And in our founding documents, there's prayer. They mention God. And it basically says that your God-given rights, you have those, not from a king or a monarch, but you're born with those. And they can't be taken away. And our country may not be perfect, but this country has lifted more people out of poverty, given more people freedom and opportunity than any other country in history. And people, even in our worst days, everyone wants to come here. And if you think about it, we're not the biggest country. Yet we lead the world in art, in science, and technology, breakthroughs, and everything else. So, freedom.
I mean, how cool is it to see all of these tourists come in that are getting a chance to see unfiltered America, not through the eyes of the media or anybody else, but they're actually getting to meet real Americans and see what our way of life is. And they are blown away because it's not what they anticipated. It's not what they were told America was like.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of the danger of the media. There's so many ridiculous policies and woke ideologies that have prevailed, not just in the United States, but around the world, because the media controlling the narrative with crazy ideas. But when you come here and you get to see the reality of it, they're like literally in shock at how amazing our country is. We got some problems, but we are turning the ship around, and thank God we got President Trump. We got a majority in the House. We got a majority in the Senate. But we got to keep those majorities coming up this year.
Have you ever spent much time with the president just talking about patriotism? Because that's a story that we really don't get unfiltered. Maybe it goes through the media, like you said, someone else. But have you ever spent time with the president and actually talked about why he loves America, or got FaceTime with him one-on-one?
Yeah, I had dinner with him last night at the White House, and we actually talked about that. The guy has a clear heart for the American people. He's lived a long life in this country, and he could be doing anything. I mean, he's got plenty of money and everything else, but he saw our country going off the cliff, the country that he loves, the people that he loves. He loves all Americans, regardless of race, party, religion, or creed. And he is, he's taking a bullet for us. He hardly sleeps at all. I mean, I was on the phone with him at 3 a.m. one time for the big, beautiful bill, and he was more awake than me. But he loves our country. I was at the Rose Garden last night, the Rose Garden Club dinner, and he had a statue put there. There was like a modern art piece of art that you wouldn't even know what it was. He replaced it with an awesome statue of George Washington. And right there in the middle, he had a new statue yesterday that I saw. It was 3 patriots or 3 Minutemen from the Revolutionary War. We have an incredible history. I mean, these people that fought for our freedom went barefoot through the snow, across the Dan River in my district to help corner Cornwallis at Yorktown so we can defeat them and win our independence. We have so much incredible history that needs to be taught. Because no matter how bad, the grass is always greener. But I would say if you don't like America, try some other place and you'll come back real quick.
Wow. Hey, by the way, I did mention this. I saw the social media pictures, and I think I saw you on TV in Coronado during the NASCAR race on Father's Day weekend, correct?
That's right. I'm on the Armed Services Committee, and the chairman, Mike Rogers, had a trip out to tour some defense manufacturers. You got to remember, we're working hard to pass the National Defense Authorization Act, and we have to go visit with these people and find out what the best options are for our military. Well, while we were out there to celebrate 250, we had NASCAR on the base, a race on the base, and it was North Island Naval Station. And I happened to have two of my children out that way. One's in the Navy. He just deployed to the Middle East 4 days after Father's Day, so I got to see him before he deployed. But I got to go see him. We visited the EMT unit. We visited the Navy SEAL School, and I got the Naval Special Warfare Command Admiral and talk about what they need, make sure our troops have what they need so they can win the fight and come back home safely. But yeah, it was patriotism. I mean, you think about it. The U.S. Navy base, American flags, fireworks, come out of turn 3, and you look up and it's the USS Carl Vinson aircraft carrier, which you may not remember, but they have a cleat on the ship that's painted red, and that's where the Navy SEALs delivered Osama bin Laden's body.
Right.
Before they did the burial at sea. And so, I mean, just a lot of history, a lot of patriotism. American flags, apple pie, baseball, and NASCAR. It doesn't get any more American than that.
And for those that might not know, not far from North Island, and that was the naval base that the Maverick movie was based on, is the training at North Island. But not far from there is Coronado, where Buds is, the school for people that want to become Navy SEALs, where John went through, and that's where he earned his trident. So it's kind of a homecoming for you. What's it like being a member of Congress and a veteran, and you see your son being deployed?
Well, I'm just proud of the young man. You know, I joked that he couldn't walk when I met him, but he's a big, strong man right now. I tell you, if you saw him, he lifts weights every day, runs, and just works out. But there are many ways to serve, and we're lucky to have men and women in our military willing to stand up, step up, and defend our freedom. But I'm proud of the guy. I mean, I've just seen him turn into a man who is highly respected, very strong leader, and he takes care of his team, and they're fired up and ready to go. So no, it's just very proud.
I don't know what branches he's serving in.
He's in the U.S. Navy.
Okay, like father, like son, right?
He's doing some cool stuff.
That's awesome. We got a couple minutes here, Congressman, and I'm just going to ask you personally.
Sure.
I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I said sure.
Okay, I want to ask you something. 4th of July. I told everybody, one of the reasons why I jumped at the opportunity to take this job is I'm going to be here on the 4th of July, our country's 250th birthday. Can you just take a moment, like I said, I'll tell your life story because you're too proud to. Humble beginnings. Absolutely no silver spoon in his mouth. Earned everything he did. Joined the Navy, became a Navy SEAL, served our country, became an instructor, was injured, countless surgeries, met this wonderful woman, has this fantastic family. Again, surgery after surgery, gets back up on his feet, and he decides he's not done serving our country, and now he's a member of Congress. It is, and I've told you this, sir. I told my boy, you want to talk about somebody who's been knocked on their butt more than once? You look at John McGuire, and you look at John McGuire who picked himself up and dusted himself off every time, never gave up. So I want you to talk to our audience today about the meaning of the 4th of July.
Well, look, all of us have bumps and bruises and ups and downs. Life is tough, but it's amazing. And life is a miracle. And I have this philosophy, God first, God's got a plan for us. And I think God gives men and women adversity in their life to chisel them into the men and women we're supposed to be. So I'm not a victim. I'm a fighter. I feel very blessed every day. You know, I had a life-changing injury. They told my wife I wouldn't make it through the night. They said if I did, I'd never use my arms and legs again. I used to be in a wheelchair. It took me a year to walk. So whenever somebody says, John, are you having a bad day? I say every day's Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm not in a wheelchair. You know, I'm in a primary right now, and I got an opponent that just finds a new way to lie about me every day. And people say, doesn't that bother you? And I said, no, because God defines who I am. So if God, I'm just going to keep shaking hands and being a happy warrior. But no, we live in a great country. Like I said, I really love our country. That American flag represents all of us. Many men and women have died under that flag. And what we owe to them is to live a life worthy of their sacrifice. But apple pie, baseball, our military. I just love our country. We need to have more American flags. In fact, I've been all over the world as a Navy SEAL, and there are many ways to serve people who've done some really cool things. I see countries that I can't think of what they've done historically, but they've got their flags all over their country. We should have American flags on every car and every building because people don't realize the freedom that we have. But they say, what's your favorite country since you've been around the world? I say my favorite country favorite place to be is any place in the U.S. because of our freedom. And people don't realize that freedom is, I think that's what Reagan said, freedom is only one generation away. You can lose that. We've got to defend it. Yeah, that birthright citizenship ruling with the Supreme Court. I know it was tough for us to think we were going to win that, but it's terrible. Basically the way the Democrats have rigged our elections, where you can come in the day of election day and register to vote, that means over 1 million Chinese communists, because China is a communist nation. They have dual citizens in the U.S. It's like maybe it's 1.5 million. I don't know what it is. When you bring them into the U.S., they can vote, and then go back to China. They can change the course of our country. That is stupid. That is unfair. And we are, even the U.S. Senate and Congress, we're talking about we're going to find another way to solve that problem.
I think it's I think it's Congress's job to do. I think it's your job and the members of Congress. I think it's on your shoulders now.
We're doing it, and we're on it. We've already drafted legislation to fight that. There's a lot of ridiculous things. The idea that you can accept ballots long after election day is ridiculous. This mail-in ballot thing. So we didn't get all the rulings we want, but we got some good rulings. Like one is anybody who cares about common sense knows it's known all along that boys should not be in girls' sports. And so I'm glad we had that rule in this. We got a lot going on in Washington. I see it as a way to continue service to our country. It's a huge honor.
Real quick, we got 10 seconds. What are you doing for the 4th of July?
So I got fireworks in the middle of the district. I came back last night at 1 a.m. I'm in the district campaigning right now. But fireworks on the 3rd, fireworks on the 4th, several parades in the district, just shaking hands and kissing babies and make sure we win a primary. I was talking to the president last night. I said, a lot of people in my district don't even know we have a primary because it's unusual. So what I would tell your audience is that we have election season, early vote has begun. The last day to vote is August 4th. And I hope you will vote for the frogman for re-election for Congress in Virginia's 5th congressional district. You can vote Monday through Friday at your county registrar's office, and then on the one-day, election day, August 4th, at your normal polling place.
John, I want to wish you and your family and all your SEAL brothers in Congress the very best 4th of July. Thank you for your service, and I will catch up with you real soon.
Yep, happy 4th of July. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. We'll continue with you. It's News Radio WRVA.
Pearson.
Real quick, let me tell you about Pearson Signature Dealership. Pearson Signature Dealerships, they just kind of lay it out for you. You walk in, you go, okay, why should I buy my car right here? And they can look you in the